Ladies and gentlemen, I am very proud to present a Corsair k65 RGB first impressions. Ooh. And now it focuses, because I guess I wasn't focusing before because it's probably trying to pick out each and every little colors, but since it focused now, it's fantastic. And this is a cherry MX red, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but this comes only as red for now. I believe so. If not, go ahead and comment down below saying, no, they come in a variety of different cherry MX color. You're wrong, and I'm never watching your videos again. Hopefully that's not the case, but, you know, it could always happen. And the story behind this particular purchase was I had to reward myself after 4 days of being a shut-in to study for tax accounting. That was quite a journey, and I feel like this is a good sense of reward for my efforts. Because this is one freaking beautiful looking keyboard. You have to agree with me there. This is a beauty. A beauty. This is just wow. Now, of course, it's not perfect, and definitely the price is not a bargain. This is not a bargain keyboard, but that's not its mission statement anyways. It's not supposed to be a bargain keyboard, so it's understandable. And it comes with volume keys, a window lock, a mute, and a light switch key, which turns off the light and turns on the brightness settings. And this is my first time using Cherry MX Red. I have so far used blues, browns, and now reds. And I will intend to get a black sooner or later, just to have a taste of the mainstream colors. And if I can dabble upon the variations, and hopefully, one day, I will get my hands on a taupe switch. That is the keyboarding dream right now. Yep, and that day will come. That day will eventually come. But as of right now, I'm gonna live in the present. I'm gonna take this one keystroke at a time and tell you more details about this k65. Now, in the box, if you guys really want to know, it comes with a wrist rest, which the reason why it's still in the packaging is that it's hard plastic. I'm sure the lining material here is quite soft. It should be, but it feels like hard plastic, and it's a good thought. It was kind of them to include a wrist rest, but compared to this one, I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to steer away from this particular wrist rest because it's soft. It's almost pillowy soft, and I can play video games for hours on ends. And each and every subsequent hour, I tend to take about a 5 to 10 minute break, of course, just to not have my legs be super numb and, you know, die, because Man, I still can't believe when I read those news on League of Legends player playing a game for like 24 hours straight or something like that, and they end up dead. That's just, man, that makes me very, very wary. So to combat that, every subsequent hour or so, I'm gonna take a 5 to 10 minute stretch, walk around, loosen things up, and then return back to playing video games. Man, this is just... And this is also my first RGB keyboard too, by the way. So it's there's a lot of firsts going on, and it's amazing. But another downside is that it takes up two USB ports. And it's not like the keyboard have additional USB port on the board. So, as you can see here, so that's kind of a drawback. And I don't know if whether or not it's going to be a deal breaker to the people that are planning to buy it, but it's certainly something that I wasn't really prepared for, because going into this keyboard, I know that this keyboard exists, but I know I'm going to buy it sooner or later, so I sort of kept myself spoiler free on most of the things that are going on. And just kind of take the keyboard in as is and find my way around things. And that's another downside. And one more downside I can think of is that it's silver tip instead of gold tip. So I don't think that's too much of a deal breaker, but I guess if you have a certain criteria, a certain list of things you written down, and you want your keyboard to fulfill all those lists, then that could be a deal breaker. And well, it is braided cable. It's pretty thick braided cable too, so that's nice. And the Cherry MX Reds. I do find it a little bit more challenging to type on, to be completely honest with you guys. And it's not a typing switch, so it makes sense. But I don't just use the keyboard to play video games. That's the thing. I have school, obviously, as you guys can tell. If you guys are watching my previous videos, you guys know that I'm still going to college, and I'm about to graduate soon. But still, it's school. It's still a factor in my life for now. And having reds and missing some of the strokes, or I can't really feel what I'm doing, if that's a easier way to explain things. Yeah, I can't really feel my keystrokes, and that's, well, for your understanding, my very first keyboard, my very first mechanical keyboard, was the Razer Black Widow Battlefield, which is still my primary keyboard now. I still use it as my daily driver, and I'm very much used to the whole, if I push something, it's gonna make an actual click noise, and then I know that I pushed the keys. But what I did not know was that how used I am to it. Which, moving on to brown, it wasn't as hard of a transition as moving to red, because brown has a sort of like there's a little bump to it. And yes, I know a lot of people will tell me, no, Rio, there's no bump to it. Yes, there is a bump to it. Because if you use it for a long enough time, which is my Cooler Master Quickfire Rapid Pro, I believe, or not, but it's the one with Cherry MX Brown. It's one of my earlier keyboarding videos. Yeah, and I use that for quite some time too. So moving on to reds, it's quite different. But I have to agree that playing video games, especially playing games where you do a lot of keystrokes. One game that I can think of is definitely StarCraft. Yeah, because you do a lot of keystrokes and you want to double, because then when you highlight your units, or you highlight your command center or your hatchery, and then you do Control 1 to assign them, and so you have to double click one, and then the camera moves the unit to there, and then you can go on your merry way. And I find that with reds, it's a lot easier to do that. It's a lot easier to just double tap. And yeah, it's definitely a lot more useful for gaming. And here's a typing sound, of course. Let's not forget that, because I was mentioning about how keyboard reviewers don't do that much typing sounds, and here we go. See how it's completely silent? Because this is you bottoming it out. That's pretty much the only way that I know that it makes sound. I knew it. Part of me knew it. When I click shift too much, I'm gonna get that sound. I'm just gonna mute it for now. Oh, by the way, there's two little LED lights here. One for cap lock, and the other one is probably scroll lock. Yep, that's right. And the other one is scroll lock. Just sort of forgot to mention that. Oh, there's a function key here, which leads to your media controls. Pause, stop, reverse, play, pause, forward. And oh, one more thing that I did notice was that when looking at Corsair keyboards before, I honestly thought they would be very, very heavy because they seem like they are, but this one is actually really light. It's lighter than most, which is quite a surprise. And again, I don't know whether or not that could be a deal breaker, but it's there, and I'm gonna throw it on the table and see if anyone catches it. If not, then you know, there it is. And this is about to wrap things up as my first impressions video. Here's a glimpse of the box and a glimpse of the wrist rest that's being laid there and probably will not be used, but it's there. This has been great. This has been Rio Gion signing out.